Before we begin this week's show, I'd just like to make a quick note and let you know that Alterego Games provided me with a review copy of Woven, which is a review featured on this show. What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 96 of Weekend Review. On this week's episode, I'm going to get caffeinated with a limited edition Coca-Cola. We're going to talk about the video game Woven, tell you about this week's new releases and the streams happening over on twitch.tv/JonosaurusRex. And now, your host pantomimes the audio of footage that was unusable because of a computer error. It's a limited edition. At the time of recording, it is 9:49 p.m., which is the perfect time to get limited edition caffeinated before we talk about a video game. Coca-Cola has come out with a cinnamon flavor, limited edition cinnamon flavor of their Coca-Cola product, and what I would like to do is I would like to commend Coca-Cola for the size of the can that they have released them in. These are 7.5 ounce cans, which is really great because it's a limited edition item, number one. And number two, it works well for this show because I don't drink a whole lot on the show and then it kind of just sits and I finish it later. And that's not always the best option for soda, so I do commend them on this size of can. I like Coca-Cola. I don't drink it a ton. Typically when I do, I drink a vanilla Coke. That's just a random fun fact about your host of Weekend Review. So we'll give this a try. Again, loving the can size. It's fantastic. Get in here. God damn it. Oh, yeah, that's a good pop. Ooh, that's a real bad pop. That's in the red. No, that's in the yellow. All right. Crack it open here. Ah, there we go. It's almost like I should have had one setting off to the side. But then I wouldn't have been able to show the full six-pack. It's fine. Kind of just smells like normal Coke. I'm not really getting a whole lot of cinnamon out of this. That tastes almost exactly the same. It tastes exactly the same. Almost exactly the same is misleading because I don't taste any difference. I don't taste any difference. This you could wrap this in like a paper towel, maybe not a paper towel because it'll soak through or whatever. You could duct tape this. Not let me know what it is. You could just put it in nondescript glass. I don't know why I'm fixated on wrapping things around it. But you could give this to me in a clear nondescript bottle or duct tape wrapped contraption and I wouldn't be able to tell you that this is a limited edition item. I don't taste the cinnamon at all, and I feel like cinnamon has a very strong punch to it, but it's lost in just regular Coca-Cola. Yeah, I can't tell you a difference. I can't tell you a difference. And therefore, I can't recommend it because it doesn't taste any different. What? How is this cinnamon? How is this limited edition? I've been duped. The Coca-Cola company said, fuck it, just put whatever you want on the label and some idiot will buy it. Some idiot in a Huskies t-shirt with a Huskies hat will buy it. And they got me. Hook, line, and sinker. I walked by it at Safeway and I was like, you know what? $3 isn't that bad for a 6-pack of Coke. And I picked it up. I didn't put it in a cart because I never use carts for some godforsaken reason. I just carry everything like a idiot and hope to God that it doesn't all just completely fall on my way to the check stand. Usually holding like a gallon of milk by the pinky. This would have been held like kind of like this while I balanced like 6 boxes of rice checks. It's a whole mess. But they got me. I spent $3 on it. And I can't encourage you to do the same. It says cinnamon flavored. It's not cinnamon flavored. So therefore, it is fundamentally flawed because it just tastes like regular Coke. Not going to stop me from drinking it. So there you have it. There is the allegedly cinnamon flavored Coke. It says cinnamon flavored on the can. I don't taste it, but maybe you will if you go pick some up. I've seen them just kind of at Safeway in this size. I haven't seen any bigger sizes. So if you're looking, just keep an eye out for this small little 6-pack if you really want to try it. If not, just contact me and I'll send you a can. How about that? Just a reminder that Alterego Games did provide me with a code for our game this week, and that game is Woven. And Woven actually has a really interesting story of how it even ended up on this show in the first place. As I do every week, I was sifting through the next week on Xbox list, and as I do every week, I take notes of what's coming out. And last week, I just talked about, I mentioned the Star Wars, and the new Star Wars game was coming out. And as I scrolled to the bottom of this page, I noticed this game called Woven, and I read a little bit about it, and it had a description about, like, you're a woolly thing in a world that has a mystery that you need to unravel, or something along those lines. But the screenshot that they posted looked like it was an elephant. And if you know me, you know I love elephants. There's one right up here. Where is it? There it is. There's an elephant right here. I've shown off my elephant paintings in the past. Like, I really love elephants. And that was immediately enough to get my attention. So I watched a couple trailers. I watched an announcement trailer and a gameplay trailer, and I immediately fell in love. And I liked the look of it, and I liked the idea behind it. But I didn't quite know exactly what I was getting into. I was in a headspace where I was like, I want to know about this game, but I don't want to know too much about this game because I want to use it for content for the show. And I initially planned on just buying the game when it came out. But as I got closer to it, I was like, I'm specifically going out to get this game for Week in Review and to stream on twitch.tv/OnSourceRex. I wonder if there is a way for me to get like a review code for it. So long story short, I ended up being granted a review key for it, and I feel a little bit torn on the game. While there are some good ideas here, it does have some issues that I feel like really hold it back. The first thing that I want to point out that I enjoyed was how the story was told. It's actually told like a storybook, and it even rhymes, and it's about the mystery of what happened to all of Stuffy, the main character's kind, and they like mysteriously disappeared, and the circumstances are like, what the heck happened? And he meets up with this little robot named Glitch, and they follow this adventure to figure out what exactly is going on. It gets a little bit cheesy towards the end. It was interesting enough to kind of pull me through, but what I was so drawn to with this game was actually the art style and the way the game looks, and the game looks absolutely fantastic. Stuffy is a stuffed animal, and the way the world looks is super vibrant and bright and colorful and cozy. The most interesting idea in this game is that specific parts of different stuffed animals provide you with special abilities that can help you solve puzzles throughout the world. You find blueprints throughout the levels, and they give you new animals that give you these special abilities. So let's say, for example, you have elephant legs. Elephants can't jump, so you need to go find the blueprint for the deer, which has legs that can jump, and then move to a station, like a creative station, where you change out the legs. And then you can progress through the story. For the most part, these changing stations are actually really well located, and you don't have to go terribly far to find a new one if you're missing a specific ability. It's not just limited to the legs. You can change out arms and heads. Heads change from like singing a song, like if you're a bird, to making like a kind of just general call if you're a different animal, like a bear or an elephant, something like that. With the arms, you can either like push things, or you can push specific buttons, which require two different things. And it's just really nice that you don't have to go terribly far if you're like, oh shoot, I need this specific ability to get across this gap or to do this specific task. You're never too far out of the way to find one of those things. What's really weird about these abilities, and it's especially specific to the jump ability, is you're not really supposed to use them in just the general world exploring. You're only supposed to really use them in very specific spots where the game has like a little thing on the ground, and then you hit the ability that you need to use, and when you use that ability, it moves you where you need to go. And that's really odd, and I thought that was kind of weird, because in my head I was like, okay, elephants can't jump, that's cool. Once I get different legs, I'm going to be able to kind of just jump freely around. That's not what the game wants you to do. You're meant to just kind of stay on the ground, and it's just to access different areas in a very specific way. But the weirdness doesn't stop there. I think this game actually has some level design problems. For the most part, about 60% or so, I enjoyed working my way from point A to point B and exploring areas for collectibles and solving light puzzle elements. Unfortunately, there are two levels in this game that I'm not really a huge fan of. Level 3, the beach, and level 5, the desert. Like I said, I really like going from point A to point B, which is something that levels 1, 2, and 4 did very well. These two levels are the complete opposite of that. They are both open areas areas that have a lot to do that don't really have anything to do with the actual objective of the level. It's just a lot of filler area. Level 3 was especially egregious in this, in that I wandered around for a very long time thinking that there was more to do than there actually was. If you knew what to do in this level, you would spend probably 20, maybe 30 minutes in it, and you wouldn't explore 70% of the level because it has nothing to do with your main objective. There's actually a pretty simple fix for this, and it would be to give you layers of objectives that lead to an overall goal. The 5th level gets a little bit closer to that path, but it also doesn't have super great design. I felt far more lucky that I was in the area rather than finding the actual path to where I was supposed to be. This level also has a puzzle that requires you to find a very small pile of cogs in a very large area, and I accidentally stumbled on it, and I never quite understood the logic of why that specific thing was there. In some of the other levels, if you walk into a cave, you can use Glitch's light ability to light up the cave, and it has paintings on the wall that gives you a little bit of a hint at what you're looking for. With this particular level, that's not there, and so I didn't get why that item was placed in that area, and it was really frustrating because I felt incredibly lucky that I didn't spend double the time trying to figure this out. And the only reason I even knew that that objective was there is because someone in the Twitch chat called it out. It's a very small thing that you have to pay attention to, and then it's an even smaller item you have to find. And I just didn't really like the way that worked out. There are also some really baffling decisions made with this game. It feels like a game out of time. There's no map, which would have been really nice because a lot of the areas can have a very similar, like, have I been there feeling, especially in the larger, very exploratory areas. Oh, and I hope you got all of the collectibles on your first go around because you can't go back to previous areas or levels to clean up. You have to start a brand new game if you want to 100% it. It also has some super bizarre geometry with invisible walls all over the place, and some of them were in really odd spots where other video games would have like these little slopes or hills that it would make sense that you would be able to go up or down. This game has like a wall in it that's like, no, you're not going down this way. You need to funnel yourself into a very specific path. This was especially frustrating when you would go to an area and you would see something that you needed to get to, and it looked like there were 5 or 6 different ways to get up there, but because of where the walls were, they wanted to force you into one very specific funneled area for you to get up to that point. And it was really weird. The number of walls that I ran into was incredible in this game, and I almost soft locked the game a couple of times where I like accidentally walked around the geometry weirdly and got myself kind of stuck and then had to figure out my way back through because it was like, am I supposed to be here for a pattern or something else, or am I in an area that I'm not supposed to be in? It's a little bit weird. Some of the walls make sense, like there's obviously an outer level that you're not supposed to get to. There's not really much of a way to perish in this game. That's all totally fine. There's just a lot of it that's like, I should be able to traverse this without much of a problem. Overall, I think Woven is a good game that's held back from greatness from some interesting decision making, some of it that I don't really agree with. I really like the art style and the way the story was told. It was interesting, though it does get a little cheesy towards the end. I had a good time with the game. It did come with some frustration, some unclarity in my objectives, a couple of levels that have a lot going on that don't really matter. But at the end of the day, I had fun with this cute little game. Finally, on this week's show, let's take a look at the week's new releases. There was nothing on Blu-ray. There were 3 movies of note out in theaters: Frozen 2, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, and 21 Bridges. And then 4 games: Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts, that's all one game, not the 4 that I mentioned before, it's just that's one game. Garfield Kart Furious Racing, which is a game that will be streamed on twitch.tv/ShaunosaurusRex on Wednesday. Where the Water Tastes Like Wine hits consoles, and Lost Ember is out. So it's a pretty busy week as far as the games and the movies in theaters are concerned. The streams over on twitch.tv/ShaunosaurusRex look like this: Wednesday, Garfield Kart Furious Racing. Friday is going to be Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts. That'll carry into Saturday, which will be an early stream, probably about 10 o'clock in the morning, and that'll probably carry into Sunday as well, depending on how much I like it. If I don't like that game, I will have to try and figure something else out, maybe like an Outer Worlds or Gears 5, which is a game that I started playing last week and actually quite enjoyed, so maybe we'll pick up in Act 2 with that. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Week in Review. If you like the content, you can scroll on down and hit that subscribe button. If you like the content enough, you can scroll on down even a little bit further, and you can leave me a comment, and you can let me know what you thought of the cinnamon Coca-Cola. You can let me know what you thought of the video game Woven. Be sure to head on over to twitch.tv/ShaunosaurusRex to check out the streams on Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Don't forget that was an early stream on Saturday and Sunday, and be sure to check back right here every Tuesday for more Week in Review. We'll see you next week.